Hello, my beautiful It's So Real family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your girl Rocqi from the It's So Real podcast and Rocqi's Reactions. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us get monetized. So today on Rocqi's Reactions, I am reacting to Sorelle Amore, or Amore's Learning to Love Being a Woman, Healing My Feminine Energy. And the link to that video will be in the description box below. And if you want to see this video on screen as I'm reacting to it, then subscribe so we can hire a video editor. Okay, alrighty then. Let's get to it, shall we? Oh, let me preface. I also have my own individual YouTube channel, LifeIsRocqi. Link to that in the description box below. And on that, I reflect on my journey as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a happiness coach, writer, painter, you name it. I'm it. So, yeah, I have on LifeIsRocqi a playlist called my Becoming a Feminine Woman series. And it was through the It's a Real podcast that I started reflecting on just who I am as a woman, and like check out our episode, How to Be a Balanced Woman. So I'll put that link into the description as well. But I've been on a journey of rediscovering myself and trying to find balance within myself. And as I've been seeking knowledge for what it means to not be traditional in your feminine energy, but balanced in your feminine energy, it's been very hard to find, just point blank period. And then it's even harder to find from a Black woman's perspective. So this isn't a Black woman, it's a white woman, but this is the most true to what I was seeking that she was able to like lay out and break down. So I would definitely highly recommend you watching this. The scenery of where she is, I believe she's in Iceland. It's just green and lush and just, it feels calming and just soft, and it feels feminine when you're looking at it and when you're watching it. So I would definitely highly recommend you watch the video. Again, the link is in the description box below, but yeah, this speaks, like, obviously I've seen it before, but it speaks the most true to what my feminine energy looks like in a balanced woman, where it's not one or the other versus like one masculine energy versus feminine energy. It's how to have both of them and be okay with each of them, and understanding the need for each of them, and accessing that fluidity in your own life. So let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Let's get to it. With this music too. So she's just in nature. She's like doing this like juggling thing with strings, which is interesting. And then she just threw it, and then they just landed randomly. So now she has to go search for them.
Oh no. Yes! Yes! One thing that I would never ever have been able to do in Australia is sit in grass like this. It is one of the most simple and beautiful pleasures, being able to relax in grass and not fear for your life. Australia versus Iceland, just one of the few differences, major differences that these countries have.
I don't know what it's like in Australia, but when's the last time you've laid in grass? When's the last time you rolled down a hill? When's the last time you've walked barefoot in grass? Like, connecting with Mother Earth in that way is so fucking grounding, and like the energy is just in you. And like, when's the last time you've laid on the ground and looked up at the sky? Like, you just feel nourished. Just. So go do that. And then let me know how that experience was for you in the comments below, because Jesus.
Just want to take this video as an opportunity to have an exploration of thoughts. One thing that I learned recently is that humans are unique, because we need psychologists, for example. We need to talk in order to think. And it's just a really fun way to learn about yourself, really. I just want to cover off an issue. Not an issue, it's not even an issue, it's a blessing that I've had the chance to learn this about myself in the last 12 months. It's been an absolute honor. remember being a little girl, even as a teenager actually, even as a woman in her 20s, always looking at certain women that had this intense, very sensual, certain strong vibe and energy about them. And I never quite knew how to pinpoint it or what it was, but it's these women that you just can't help but stare at whenever they come into a room, not because of what they're wearing, but it's because of their energy, not because of what they look like, but the vibes that they're giving off. And these are the women that have more or less my entire life intimidated me when I've been in contact with them, because I just didn't understand. But it wasn't an intimidation as in a bad one, but more from a standpoint of, I wish I had that. I want to be around it because it makes me feel alive, but I don't have it, but I wish I did.
So do any of you have that experience? I don't. I didn't value feminine energy growing up. My mom is very into she's feminine dominant energy. But I was so aligned with my dad that I didn't value it. I value it now and who she was as a mother to me. If anything, I could kind of pinpoint, I would say Beyonce, just because not only is she like a boss ass bitch in her masculine, but she's also like highly feminine, right? And just her sensuality, and just who she is as a woman, empowering us as women, not in the masculine, but in the feminine. Like specifically her later work, like her coming into who she is as a wife and a mother. Like you can definitely feel that shift of energy versus like Destiny's Child earlier work. Still overlap, but you can definitely feel the shifts as she's grown, you know, in the way that is empowering women, yeah, lately with some of her songs. So yeah.
The only way I can somewhat describe it is feminine energy at its most powerful, most integrated. And this is something that I've been on the journey to discover for myself, in myself as well, because if they have it, then I know I am able to access that energy as well. But I was quite disconnected for most of my life from being able to reach this energy point. What I mean by that.
So she's about to get some ads. Get your money, get your money, get your money. So while she's setting up and stuff, let me just say, so yeah, I was definitely in my masculine energy, like hard. And then again, I was more aligned with my dad. I'm an Aquarian, so I'm more logical. So it was just, I was just more masculine. And then that was the environment, the strong, independent black woman, you know, so that was the environment. And then the only association I had with feminine women was through oppressive patriarchy, right? So I didn't want to be that. And I saw how my dad devalued my mom and what she offered to our family. So I did not value feminine energy. So I was definitely in my masculine. And then I spent a decade in college and, you know, working in my profession to become a licensed marriage and family therapist. So I was in my masculine energy. And check out a video on my Life is Rocqi YouTube channel where I talk about the 10 ways to practice feminine energy. And I go through my journey, and I'm like, I had 5 ways that I was practicing my feminine energy in high school, and all of them disappeared over the next decade. And I'm just now getting to a point where I've reached that original 5 plus some. So when women want to say like, oh, I'll submit to the right man, and it's like, I had the right man here for like 6 years, and it wasn't until I started valuing my feminine energy and then practicing my feminine energy that I finally submitted, or I became more cooperative, which is a term I like to use because submission is very triggering, but and it just goes to the oppressive patriarchy versus the benevolent patriarchy that he leads with. So it's just, so that's kind of my story, my backstory as far as where my energy has been. So now I feel a lot more balanced. Like I leaned hard into my feminine energy. So now I'm a homemaker. But this is my job right here. So, and I just had to make a decision. I was like, listen, cause he was hungry and I didn't factor that in to today because he's on a family call. And I was like, well, I have to do this because of these factors. I have to record this. So I'm gonna have to cook later. Like, and that's the thing with homemaker and working, like capacity is like, yeah, I gotta choose, you know? So for the most part, I'm a homemaker. I still do a little few things here and there. But yeah, for the most part, I'm a homemaker now. And I value that. I value being the peace and building the peace in our home for our family in the midst of the chaos of the world. So I value that. But now I would say I'm a lot more of a balanced woman because I know when I need to access those energies. So like, for example, like I'm assisting him with his business because one, that takes stress off of him. Also, those are my strengths, you know, like I spent what, 4 to 5 years in administration. So like, doing that type of work, like I created his website, like it's just, I have strengths, you know, in my masculine energy. And as far as my organization, my planning, I have these. So I'm very much balanced and fluid and able to access both of my energies. So I consider myself a balanced woman. And again, I say more of that on my Life is Rocqi YouTube channel, link in the description box below.
I'm dealing with an issue right now and it's really frustrating me, and I'm talking about it too much and I really want to get it out on video format, but I'm doing so much to just stay away from that image. Anything that's too feminine, like not feminine, I am still feminine, I'm just not delicate, and it's just how I am. And I wonder how many of the females are actually like that in disguise.
So like she's in a satin long dress.
Speak enough for themselves. I don't have to dress outwardly in a certain way. It's like the belief that I have to dress a certain way in order to be taken seriously, which is a big problem in business. A lot of the time, females that dress too girly aren't taken seriously, and I think that's what I was looking for. Like, stop dressing girly so we can balance out this idea that females are always delicate and therefore not badass, which I don't believe now because I know I'm badass even when I'm wearing a nice delicate little dress, you know what I'm saying? As a little girl, I wore only skirts. Until the age of 5, you could absolutely not put me in pants. When I moved to Poland at the age of 5 for 6 years, it was obviously brutally cold. I'm pretty stubborn, so for the very first year I only allowed myself to wear pants underneath my skirts. I would still not go just in pants. It was the best period of time, and I think that is innately part of my core. At the time when I was living there, that 94, it was very grey most of the time. The energy was very heavy. The advancements of that country were slow. There's still a lot of pain in Poland over what has happened in the past. So I internalized a lot of that pain, mixed together with an environment at home that wasn't the most loving and nurturing. I hardened up and I became a bit of a tomboy during this time. Also, I started my sporting career. I wanted to become a professional swimmer, so my competitive side was truly born. I lived in that energy up until last year, the beginning of last year. You can see that so strongly throughout my entire online space. I was that person, and I will never apologize for that. I will never apologize for the person I was, because it was exactly what I needed to be at that time. She's beautiful. That Sorelle is still part of me, but I was able to make some space last year for a new version of myself.
I love her energy, like her smile, her confidence within herself, her understanding of herself. Like, have you ever been attracted to someone's energy? Like, not the way they look, not what they're wearing, not their hair, but like their energy, the vibe that they're giving off. Like, I'm very attracted to her energy. Like, it just seems just beautiful, you know?
Which I had dreamt of since I was so young. What I've come to understand.
Yeah, I was actually more girly when I was young. I mean, my mom also dressed me in very itchy shit. But actually, no. I was just more in tune with nature, I guess. Like, I think... Actually, I don't know. Like, I used to play outside, and I remember my mom, like, telling me to not play in the trees and stuff because I'll get dirty and whatnot. So, like, she was trying to put this certain image and aspect of feminine on me that I rejected. And I think in high school I started exploring it a little bit more with fashion particularly, and I was also dancing at that time. So yeah, I have a journey as well.
Understand that masculine energy is very competitive, very driven. Very masculine energy. What I've come to understand that masculine energy is very competitive, very driven, very goal-orientated, very focused, quite stable, go-getter energy. And then the feminine energy is chaotic, it is destructive, it is caring, it is relaxation, it is lack of direction, it is rest. Some people don't like the terms, so use yin and yang if you want.
And that's the thing when people get upset about masculine and feminine. Like, yin and yang not only existed way before our understanding of masculine and feminine, it also exists in multiple cultures. Not in the terminology of yin and yang. Like in Africa, balance and harmony with nature was just a thing culturally. And these qualities, these attributes of masculine and feminine energy exist outside of humanity. Like day and nights, you know, hot, cold, summer, winter, like these opposites in a sense exist within nature. They just exist. And then also in humanity, there's different aspects of it, right? So when people disagree with it, it's like I don't know what to tell you. but I find it beautiful to be able to be competitive and ambitious and driven, but also to rest and replenish and be in silence. And then also like order and organization and planning and chaos and being free and fluid. Like there are times for both. There's strengths in having both. I think with our society that we live in, Western civilization, there was such a superiority complex in terms of the mind over the body, man over nature, man over woman, you know, human over nature, man over woman. So with that superiority complex, it doesn't allow you to see the value in both. It doesn't allow you to see the value in the both. And they both have value. They're both needed. And that's why we're out of balance within ourselves, within our relationships, within our communities, within fucking the planet. Like, we're out of balance because that superiority complex has not only existed for centuries, but then it started pushing onto other cultures like this is the right way. And I'm glad that some other cultures are fighting back like, nah, bruh, that ain't right for us. Right? Like, because we need to be balanced. The reason the world is the way that it is because we did not lead with balance. Balance in our masculine energy, balance in our feminine energy. We are out of balance. And that is what's wrong with the world right now. And it's just not sustainable. Like, we have to be balanced. That's the only way to it. We have to. And then right now we're kind of in overcorrection. And it's just like, balance, people. Balance. Don't go to the opposite extreme. Balance.
Ultimately, Father Sky, Mother Earth, it's pretty standard across all cultures to reference these. I think people are quite afraid of the word chaos, but after chaos, something has to change, something has to give. It ignites change. So how can that be bad? It uplifts something that was wrong at the root and it brings it up. It's a beautiful energy, and last year I was thrust into it, obviously a big change that I didn't even realize I needed nor wanted. You better believe I didn't want it. We all want transformation, but we don't want change. I felt that deeply last year. They say that one of the most important aspects of performance is recovery. They say this for athletes, but I don't think it's discussed very often in everyday life. We don't think it's important, and we've been made out to be machines that are on the go constantly without any space for downtime. And we've been told that, busy is the ultimate thing, and we should strive for that. If you're not busy, or you don't have anything to add to the conversation of how impressive your time schedule is, then we're not worthy in some way. Yeah, been there, done that. Started to be forced into recovery last year.
Forced into recovery. So I experienced a burnout. Burnout. I was trying to work so hard towards my hours to get licensed that, like, practicing therapy, you should not be doing 40 hours a week. And I was doing at max 35 without adequate self-care, without adequate vacations, without adequate time off, because I couldn't afford it. I was working for survival to get this license so my income drastically increased so then I could chill. But a month after I got that full, beautiful license paycheck, the pandemic hit. My caseload was cut in half, and I did not have the capacity to bring on new clients. I was like, I need to fucking rest. Like, I've been going more than what my capacity could hold, but just out of survival. And then it just was like, nah, bruh, you're done. You were done. So I'm glad that my life partner afforded me the ability to become a homemaker and take this transition within my career, because I couldn't. And then, like, the pandemic, it forced everybody into recovery. It forced people to take breaks from work. It forced people to be with their families, be with their loved ones, be within their relationships. It forced, like, moms had to retire by countless numbers. Not retire, but leave their jobs, leave the workforce to help their children with their education. And it's like, and so many people became more aware of the changes that are needed, specifically in America. Like, this shit is not sustainable. Not if you're focusing on the people of this country versus the profit.
Being a workaholic, didn't expect what was going to happen next. Time off to learn to cook, eat delicious food with my man, have times with my friends, exploring Iceland, being in nature, learning pointless skills like poi, being in my greenhouse with my amazing plants. I have no idea what I'm doing, to be fair, but some of these I grew them from seed, from a tiny seed into this beautiful food, and that's just been a journey of itself.
Like, so yeah, I started getting plants during the pandemic, and to be a plant mama, like, it's literally life. So to know that you grew this thing from a seed is just so rewarding. And then to grow your own food, like, I'm literally eating the time, energy, and effort I put into growing this. Like, that's life. It's energy. It's so fucking rewarding. And it's like, connecting with nature in that way is such practicing your feminine energy. It's a beautiful experience of life, of growth.
So fulfilling. So much time to explore different things in life, except for just my one path that I had before, my one desire to be competitive, to win at a game, to prove to others that I am worthy, instead of feeling worthy for myself. And now I do.
Okay, we are getting into ads. Get your money, girl. Get your money, get your money. One day I will be getting this money.
feminine energy and make space for another aspect of you to come forward. I have always lived from my masculine energy since the age of 6, roughly. Competing to be in the Olympics for swimming. Next up was business and schooling of course, and everything has always been a competition, which is very much a masculine driven energy. That's half a human. You're experiencing half the energy there is. You're pushing aside a huge part of yourself, so why would you want to do that? Because you're afraid, you don't know. I'm certain that even yourself, some of you are already thinking, I'm gonna write here and tell her that that's not a masculine trait, this is a feminine trait. Well, however you want to feel. If it doesn't suit, change it, it's fine. But that's assuming that the masculine or the feminine energy is somehow bad. If you're saying that's not an energy, it means that you feel like you're being attacked for a certain type of energy. That's not an attack. These are universal principles that have always existed, yin and yang. It just is. And it's not at all me ever. Not once have I said that masculine energy was bad. And I will never, ever say that, because I do not agree with that in the slightest. It is the reason for everything that I've created in my life, and people I've attracted, the places I've been, the things that I've built up, the businesses I've built. It's driven so much from that energy, and I love it. But it's been 12 months of me discovering a new type of existence, and it was so scary. It was so freaking scary. I can't even tell you, because I didn't want it. I was thrust into the oblivion, and I was almost ashamed that the one that was always a tomboy online, and you can see it through all my work, it was always about being the badass chick. I was so attached to that personality that if I dared to even think about me wearing long hairs, wanting to celebrate my outer shell by decorating myself through clothing, through makeup, but not doing it just like, oh my god, I have to, society says I have to. No! I choose to do these things. It's so fun. It's so fun to celebrate a complete different side of yourself that's been ignored. I've chosen myself to ignore it because, yes, we have living in a driven society with wanting results. Is that a bad thing? No. Look at the advancements we have in the world right now. Look at the amazing things that are happening. Yes, there's also downsides to everything, but that's what happens when energies are not in balance. We haven't allowed for the opposite energy to enter in, to allow for the caring nature, for the preservation, for community to come in. And that's what we're seeing right now. There's chaos because no one wants to exist in that very driven, results-based world. We've seen what it does. It burns us out. The amount of conversations I've had last year that people have said, I had no idea that I was far gone beyond burnout, and I'm still recovering, and it's been more than 12 months. It's been about 3 years for me. We've been there, we've seen it, we know what that world and that reality brings, and it's this new way of existing, of introducing balance into our existence and making time for downtime and celebrating yourself and pointless adventures and community. Love, connection, nature, fun, play, laughter, all of the fun things. There was a few chunks.
She's so cute. But yes, we need both. We need both. And in Western civilization, because of that superiority complex, because of the hyper or over evaluation of masculine energy, everybody has devalued feminine. So women have devalued feminine energy, men have devalued feminine. We all need to reconnect with our feminine energy because we're all leading in our masculine. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just we're out of balance. We need both. Both are valuable. Both have strengths to them. We need both. It's just a part of life. Like she said, we're denying half of ourselves, of our existence. And we could have so much more if we just lived in balance.
Just that I had to encounter as I was on this brand new journey of learning my feminine side, my feminine energy side. For sure, I don't want to blame. Eye for an eye, to me, doesn't really work. You know, I was looking around and lots of people did choose to blame the systems or, you know, whatever it might be. And that's not empowering energy to me. To me, when I can look at a situation and say, oh, that's what's happening. And you get to observe it and step away from it and not be even affected by that anymore, and you create the new existence. If you just step outside of the lane, you realize you have so much more playroom that you get to explore. So I didn't want to blame. I was also really afraid to, you know, lose my identity as being that badass chick, and what would people think if I wore dresses and skirts on my channel and, you know, became a little bit more consumeristic, because I'm a minimalist, so how dare I explore a different version of myself. But I think that's anyone comes across those challenges when they are exploring a new side of themselves. But overall, I just really was uncomfortable. There was new feelings that I was experiencing inside of myself, becoming more balanced and making room to rest, because the room to rest sometimes makes space for thinking, and that means facing off with yourself, and that can sometimes be really scary. This feminine side, and it's still not there. It's still not fully expressed. I still will say that, you know, this outfit with the long hair, that's not my everyday. I feel kind of uncomfortable wearing them at times still out. I'm watching the integration of this side of me slowly but surely, but it is taking time. And I think that's the most exciting journey for me. The shift that I've been able to witness of myself. Definitely elegant and sensual, but don't get it twisted, because the feminine energy isn't delicate and that's it. There are so many more elements. I've returned to the wild woman energy a few times where I've like screamed at a primal level, and thank God we live in the middle of nowhere.
And that's the thing. The wild woman energy, it's our literally our amygdala is our primal instinct, right? So we have an amygdala that's connected to other species. Other species have the amygdala. It's our survival instinct, so it's primal. Whereas our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, is what separates us as humans, because we're able to think logically and make decisions and judgments and things like that. So that has been associated with man, whereas the emotional brain is attached to woman, and we've devalued the emotional brain. We've devalued our primal instincts just because we also have a thinking brain. And it's like, we have both, bruh. We have a thinking brain, we have an emotional brain, we have a prefrontal cortex, we have an amygdala. We have both in here, okay? Prefrontal cortex is right here, amygdala is back here, okay? We have both. We have both. So let's stop devaluing one over the other and appreciate both. They both are valuable. And let's acknowledge, yes, we may be humans, but we're also animals. We also have these primal instincts, and it's okay. It's okay. Like, be aware of it, because it'd be popping out uncontrolled, and then it's like, oh shit, you know? But it's like to embrace it and to channel it. To the point, like, yeah, when you're mad, scream. Let it out. Stifling it in doesn't help. You need to release it. You don't attack somebody with it unless it's, you know, self-defense, fight or flight. But yeah, embrace the wild woman in you.
But it was the most deep, gut-wrenching raw, and it felt so good. It felt so good. I was like, wow. Because it's just an energy release, you know, like scream, get out the anger that you might be experiencing and get back to business. It's been such an interesting exploration of my own energy and my own journey, and I love it so much. And I get to pull on the badass, masculine, beautiful, powerful energy whenever I want. And you can see that in my new channel, my Abundantia. It's a perfect mix of the two. Sometimes I'm more in my masculine, I'm very driven and do say what needs to be said. Such a perfect split now for me to explore the business side of me on that end, and then this side of me on this end. And you know, I haven't yet learnt the beauty of creating a business out of the feminine energy. I don't know what that looks like, but you know, with time, maybe I'll figure it out. I don't know. This is a life journey. You get to explore yourself, and one of the most exciting landscapes that you can ever explore is the internal landscape, because it's so vast and endless, and that's what I'm doing right now. How are you doing in terms of your own internal exploration, your bringing back the balance of the feminine energy and finding power in that? If you're a male as well, believe it or not, we all have the masculine and feminine energy inside of us. It's not a battle or a competition, one's better than the other. No, they're both so useful. All of these energies are so useful, and you get to choose whenever you want to pull on a certain energy to be as beneficial as possible for the situation. It's so nice. We are endless possibilities with endless knowledge all within us. Everything we ever need is within us. It sounds so hippie, but it's true. The beings that we are. Isn't it wonderful? Once you sit, connect back, turn off the distractions around you, give yourself an opportunity to rest, to listen to yourself instead of the outer world and what they tell you that you should do and how you should act. You just come back to yourself and remember that this life is just yours. It does not belong to anybody else. And at the end, can you wholeheartedly say that you lived it for yourself and you lived your absolute best? Because if you live for yourself from your own truth and your own joy and doing what's best for your soul, you never go against your own soul. You don't feel betrayed by your own self. You feel so whole and loved and cared for by yourself. You're self-parenting. Imagine the world that we create because of, from that space.
Right.
It's not from a space of I should. It's like because I want to. What I can say for certain is thank you for being here on my journey. I, for so long, thought that I need to be something for you all. And when I think about it, I think what we're all inspired by most is growth and overcoming obstacles and change and seeing how change can manifest into something greater, because we all experience it. These are universal things that we all experience in our own existence, in our own life. Some of you have been on my journey for 5 years. Were you really here?
So that being said, what has your journey been as far as finding balance within your masculine and feminine energy, reconnecting with your feminine energy, finding power in your feminine energy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And then again, check out my personal YouTube channel, LifeIsRocqi, where that's my journey into myself, exploring myself, understanding myself. And it's been a beautiful journey. I've grown so much over the past couple of years. Like, it's really wild. And I'm about to cry because it's been a beautiful journey. It's been hard. It's been challenging. Like, that emotional growth work especially was not easy, but I'm thankful for where I am today. So I hope you enjoyed this. I love this video. Like, basically it's just validation for the questions that I was having and when I wasn't sure and I wasn't seeing this, representation is needed, because it just confirms within you that it's okay to be you, So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out the rest of Rocqi's reactions while you're at it. All right. Peace and love.